Um, Geoff, how have you been connected with Fitzroy?
Well, connected through living here
Yeah,
for more than 20 odd years.
yeah,
Well, not in this house, but various places just around this area, probably only within 100, 150 metres or so.
yeah,
Um, and I guess just over that time you make various connections, meet people, join organisations,
yeah,
schools, whatever, that sort of thing.
yeah. And how was Fitzroy when you first moved here? As
Quieter than it is now in the sense of it wasn't the shopping strip of Brunswick Street, remember very early on it was almost completely just boarded up shops, more or less.
Yeah.
A fair bit of Brunswick Street.
uh-huh.
And I suppose also the sort of population's changed.
Mm.
I guess 20, 25 years ago there was still more of the old migrant community around than is still around,
Yeah.
and there certainly weren't newer townhouse and flat type developments that are springing up over the last 5 years.
Yeah. So it would have been mostly Italians and Greeks that lived
A
here?
lot of Italians and Greeks, yep, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Other migrant groups as well.
Yeah. And do you think there's something unique about Fitzroy as opposed to other parts of the city you may have lived in? Or?
I know it's very non-typical.
Yeah.
It has a lot more very poor people and quite a significant number of above average income people.
Mm.
So it's not the standard, sort of split of, most middle incomes or whatever. It's actually like a camel with two humps,
Yeah.
low income and upper income. It's a very educated community. It's a community that I think returned the highest vote for the Republic, in the referendum.
Really? Yeah.
So yeah, it's not typical.
Yeah.
That diversity, I think, brings a real sense of vibrancy and so on, and yeah, there's interest. It's interesting.
Yeah. So the vibrancy of Fitzroy, would you say that's the thing that you like about it the most? Or?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I like it because it is, I suppose, because it's not like one of the lower density suburbs where everything is totally driven by car transport.
Yeah.
You can walk to things here, and that means that there's a bit more life around.
Mm. So what sort of things do you think could threaten the community of Fitzroy or make it not such an interesting place to live in?
Well, I suppose if the diversity was eased out or pushed out simply by the fact that rents are rising, it means that some of the more marginal shops and other kinds of businesses simply can't afford to locate here anymore.
Mm.
Places that might have signed a lease, say, 10 or 15 years ago at certain rent, now they're finding the landlord wants a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
And obviously the sort of business that generates a higher return, it might be a very different kind of business. So that might tend to lead to a more bland, upmarket kind of business, whether it's in clothing or food or entertainment or whatever it might be.
Mm.
And the same sort of phenomenon, I suppose, is happening, or probably already happened, in housing. Whether it's rents or purchase prices, they've gone up like crazy.
Mm. So this, like businesses like, say, the Punters Club on Brunswick Street, I hear that's closing down because the rent is too high.
I've heard that story too. I don't know any more than what's been in the papers about it.
Yeah.
But that's not the only instance that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
There's been a general move away from what I call useful shops in Brunswick Street towards more bars and trinket shops, which might be fantastic for people who want to drive in from Doncaster or wherever, because life in that suburb is so bland.
Yeah.
So they come in here, but what it means is that useful everyday shops have been displaced from Brunswick Street for people who live here.
Yeah. So fruit and veggies and bread and
hard to find on Brunswick Street these days. Very hard to find.
Yeah. So do you think that? So it's almost like an appropriation in a way, or commercialisation in Brunswick Street.
Well, it is. I mean, it's the natural outcome of a deregulated planning system that we've had here for a number of years now, and well, the market delivers a certain outcome, and that outcome may not be an outcome of diversity. It tends to be an outcome of well, you know, if it's a high income area or whatever, it tends to be an outcome or an area that attracts higher income people to visit and shop and so forth. It tends to be, you know, just shops that are applicable to that subset.
Yeah. So fashion and
right. Yeah, that's right. So
lots of coffee.
That's right.
Yeah.
It could be we're heading towards you know, what South Yarra is or something. Who knows? Here in North Yarra.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have said to you know, that the council should take a different stand, for example, and it should attempt to embark on a process of consolidating Brunswick Street and making sure that a range of styles of business remain there rather than becoming homogenous. It's a process that's already occurred in Lygon Street. Become very homogenous there, and I think that it would be a pity if Brunswick Street does go exactly the same way. However, with the deregulated planning systems that have been put in place by the previous state government, for example, it's almost impossible for local government to have any kind of say other than the most general setting of overall policy, and that the generality there makes it difficult to actually achieve a specific end. So, for example, if our local supermarket, there's one little supermarket left in Brunswick Street.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been told that it's when its lease expires, which is mid next year, sorry, late 2002, early 2003, I think, it won't be renewed. The challenge is, can council do something to stop the loss of diversity that's almost certain to occur when someone applies to put in, who knows what, another clothes shop, another bar?
Yeah. So do you think developments like say the Max apartments would have gone in if the local council had say over planning? You know, a lot of people think that they're inappropriate for the district.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that everything should be frozen in time.
Yeah, sure.
The issue with the Max was that their original application was a bit over the top. It was very higher than what it is now. It was overbearing with the historic building that's just next to the just next to it. So it was able to be modified a bit.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know. I mean, residential development itself is not bad.
Yeah. So where do you see a suburb like Fitzroy heading?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and you could say, well, we're standing at the intersection, and you could go that way or that way. Yeah. The danger could be that if we go down one road, we'll go towards, on the one hand, blandness that arises out of simply concentrating on the higher end of the market. Yeah. But also, I think there's a danger of loss of residential amenity in the area. For example, with the increasing number of bars and so forth that are locating here, and entertainment venues wanting to set up in the area, There is a push for later and later trading, which often has spillover effects. Nothing wrong with it in itself, but it has spillover effects in that people, as I say, whoosh in from the legendary Doncaster or whatever and park in residential streets. They go and have a good time. Well, that's fine, but I don't object to people having a good time. However, when they come out, they're not quiet when they come wandering past my house and other people's houses and so forth.
They smash beer bottles.
That's right. They fight. They smash beer bottles. They slam car doors, rev up their motors, that sort of thing. That is a degradation of residential amenity, which, you know, taken to extremes, could destroy an awful lot of you know, what is otherwise making it a good area to live in.
Okay. Great. Thanks very much.
No worries.